Hey, you got those new sticky Dunlops on.
Yeah, they're supposed to be pretty cool.
They as sticky as they say?
That's why I got them. Truth is, I just don't know.
Yeah, see what you mean.
Well, the bike's fast. It's way faster than I am. Let's see how these other guys are getting on. Let's check them out. Whoa.
Oh, whoa.
Now, this guy's brave. He can really lean it over.
Hey, look at those foot pegs all ground away.
Jeez.
And that tire. Gosh.
Can I help you, gentlemen, with something?
Is this your bike?
Yes, she is.
Hey, how do you do something like this with a bike like that?
I guess I learned a few things in my days.
Yeah, I guess so.
You got any advice for us?
Advice?
It's a very interesting topic.
You brake straight up.
No way, pup. Trail brake. All the time.
No, bro, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to counter steer in the turns.
Just get more seat time. You'll improve.
No way. You got to plan out your laps. Be safe.
What you do is you downshift to slow down.
No. Use the brakes.
No, man, it's counter steering.
Body steering, man. It's body steering.
You got to be smooth.
One can hear a lot of advice about riding. Here. I started with this. Yeah. That's the Cornering Bible. Go ahead and read it for a week. And go ahead and bring it back to me.
Wow, thanks.
No problem. Take it easy, guys.
Thanks, you too.
You see you around.
Hi, I'm Keith Code. We hear lots of advice about how to ride. Some of it's destructive advice, some friendly advice, and some useful tips. Let's see how advice stacks up against the technology of riding.
Take how to steer as an example. Most often, our first vehicle had 3 wheels, like this tricycle. Turn the bars to the right, and it goes right. Turn to the left, and it goes left. Simple. Our first ventures out on 2 wheels usually involved training wheels. Now we have a 4-wheeler. From the tricycle experiences, we instinctively turn right to go right, and it works. In the time-honoured method of training, we raise the training wheels. Now we have a recipe for disaster. We've lost 2 wheels. It's now a frighteningly unstable machine. The child expects it to steer like everything else she's ridden. Look what happens though. She steers to the right and the bike tips over to the left, just like all 2-wheeled devices.
Just go for it.
Even with all the bad advice, out of our sense of survival, we somehow make it work.
She doesn't have her balance
Do
yet.
we
Lower the training
understand
wheels. You'll kill
the
her.
underlying technology of it?
Look at how the keys.
All 2-wheeled vehicles steer differently to 3- and 4-wheelers. To go right, you apply pressure to the right handlebar. That action initiates the turn. The bike then leans over and the front wheel turns into the turn. It's called counter steering. That's why training wheels are so confusing at first. It's counter to everything the child has learned.
There you go. Hey, good job.
Listen, kid, steering is simple. You just push down the inside peg, pull the bike in with your knee, push the handlebars down, and lean your body in.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It was false and misleading advice like that led me to invent the no BS or no body steering bike. Let's see if it will help us sort out the facts of steering.
I've grafted an extra set of bars on this bike. The whole idea was to take the handlebars out of the equation to discover what so-called body steering really does. The extra throttle on the top bars allows the rider to maintain his speed.
Even with massive shifts in body weight without any input through the handlebars, the bike only vaguely changes direction. This would never get you through the corkscrew at Laguna Seca. Foot peg weighting is another myth. Even with his entire body weight on one peg, this bike nearly veers off course, and once his course is set, the pressure has even less effect. Good advice doesn't always put the rider in real control and can prevent us from properly being able to do this. A little counter-steering with bar pressure gets the job done and puts the rider in control.
Here, we have mounted a simple pointer on the tank to illustrate counter-steering. Let's take it for a ride and see what happens.
See how the pointer shows the bars moving first to the left and then right, and vice versa? This is counter-steering. It's the only way to accurately steer a motorcycle. It really is simple. Just press on the bar and the bike responds instantly. That's all you do, and it works all the time, every time, even with only one finger. The idea that we lean to steer comes from the fact that when you lean right, you unconsciously pressure the right handlebar, and that counter-steers the bike right. Vice versa for left turns. Lean steering is one of the myths of riding. Some believe body steering works because they can maneuver the bike with their hands off the bars. When we move our weight around on the bike, it actually creates a counter-steering action. Look at the pointer. Some riders are confused about how they steer a bike once they are in a turn. It's exactly the same. To tighten the turn, you press your inside bar. To widen your turn and bring the bike up, you press the outside bar. Counter-steering always works.
Counter-steering is a piece of riding tech that will help you to improve your control in virtually every situation. Let's take a look at some other parts of riding.
You guys really do have the cutting edge of bike technology, don't you? But look at the size of that rear tire. Look at the size of those brakes. I'll bet you really can haul on them if you need to, huh? And the frame is stiff enough to handle all the braking power and the grip of the tires. So how many ponies does it have?
Well over 100. Mine's are on 150. They say it'll do 180.
It's impressive. Guess all that cutting edge stuff can make a difference.
Thanks, man.
But sometimes the cutting edge cuts the rider. What's needed is the riding technology to match the machine's technology. After over a century of development, motorcycles are truly precision cornering machines. But that doesn't eliminate rider error. What stops most riders from being able to use all of that potential?
Man, I was riding as hard as I could, and the guy just disappears.
Yeah, me too, man.
Hey, is there anything in that Twist 2 book he gave us about riding harder?
Here we go. To make real improvement, riders can expect to reach a high level of technical skill, but only if they ride at 75% of their limit. Everyone agrees that in some fashion, survival reactions...
Survival reaction? What's that? It's like fear?
Yeah. Survival reactions, or SRs, are the ever-present barrier to riders reaching their goals.
That's right. Every time I try to up the pace, I get myself into all sorts of problems. It's like I'm afraid to push my limits. But I'm not sure what I'm afraid of.
It's me too. It's definitely my personal limit. I describe it more like
Mild panic.
Oh, let's ride.
Let's see if we can get it. Where's my key? Where's my key?
What do you mean?
I never took it out. It's not here.
Look in the bag.
It's an agreed upon fact. Our instinctive survival reactions, our SRs, ruin a rider's hopes of being confident and in control.
In riding, there are 8 distinct so-called survival reactions, or SRs, and we can see all of them in this one incident. Immediately, we see the rider trying to use body steering into the turn when he should have counter-steered, so he starts out a little wide. If you'd known how to steer the bike, this whole thing could have been avoided. Let's get back and see what other errors were made. He gets on the gas to stabilise the bike, but chops it mid-turn. The bike stands up a bit, and that's SR number 1, chopping the gas from panic. Now he's counter-leaning against the angle of the bike. This increases bike lean angle, but doesn't tighten up the turn as he had hoped. This is another SR. Now the bike is unstable and running wide, so he tightens his grip on the bars. Our most common SR. None of this helped. He's running wide and panics. He's looking everywhere but where he should be. Around the turn. This is visual panic. He target locks on the very thing he doesn't want to hit. An SR? You bet. In a panic, we go where we look. He's steering directly towards the log where his attention is locked. SR number 6. With his attention tunnelling down, he cannot steer effectively and becomes frozen on the bars. Yes, SR number 7. He can't turn, so he jumps on the brakes. Our 8th SR. His lazy steering started the whole mess, but when he chopped the throttle off, it got worse. First, let's take a look at throttle control and how it works.
How'd you feel? My bike felt terrible on those turns back there. How was yours?
Not too bad, but I didn't have as much grip as I'd like. The roads must have been really slippery.
I think I need to play around with the suspension a little bit. You know how to do that?
Yeah, but not enough. Hey, are there any suspension settings in that twist of the wrist 2 book that guy gave us?
It says here that understanding the performance specifications of your bike is one step in reducing throttle control survival reactions that detract from your riding.
Sounds about right. What does that mean?
Considering that most machines in a static or constant speed situation have roughly 50-50 weight distribution, we can begin to calculate the guidelines for correct throttle control through a turn. The fact the rear contact patch is the larger of the two tells the story. Give me more weight, I can handle it. So, once in the corner, our task is to shift 10 to 20% more load to the rear to give it its fair share of load. This we do with the throttle. Technically speaking, we want a slight 0.1 to 0.2 G's of acceleration to accomplish that. Simply put, in a straight line, it's the force generated by a smooth 5th gear roll-on in the 4 to 6,000 RPM range on pretty much anything over 600cc.